Good day, everyone. I'm John, moderator for this webinar. Welcome everyone for today's webinar, Dress and Appearance Code, Rights, Responsibilities, and Potential Liabilities for 2022. I would now like to introduce our presenter for today, Dr. Susan Strauss. Dr. Susan is a national and international consultant, speaker, and trainer in organizational effectiveness and management development. Susan has her doctorate in organizational leadership, a master's degree in community health. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Susan.
Thank you, and greetings everybody from Minnesota. Really going to be talking about dress and appearance code today. Oftentimes this comes up as it relates to discrimination and harassment. One, we'll discuss why is a dress and appearance code an advantage to an employer and an employee? What about some of the legal issues associated with dress and appearance? We'll look at some best practices for a dress code, and we'll describe how both explicit and implicit bias influence our dress codes. Dress versus appearance. Let's take a look at all the issues that are involved in this. May go further in your dress and appearance code in dealing with these issues. So why a dress and appearance policy? Well, one of the things it does is it does set clear expectations. It will outline what is and is not permitted. So you, as the employer, have a right to establish what your dress and appearance code is going to be, and that it addresses both health and safety. So oftentimes we talk about business casual when we talk about our dress and appearance code. But what does that mean? But how do you dress business casual? That's something that may need to be displayed in your policy. Usually summer dress does allow for more casual dress. So what are some ways that we can discriminate? We add that, the national origin, which is ethnicity. So let's look at religious discrimination. So you can see that it's quite broad. You may deny religious dress or a grooming request if it's based on safety, security, or health. So your policy needs to address in detail, remembering these religious reasons. This was a lawsuit that came about with the EEOC and Abercrombie. The employee does not need to request an accommodation. What about hair? That would be an accommodation. Tattoos and the First Amendment rights. The workplace has a constitutional right to ban tattoos as long as you are not discriminating. There are no legal rights by your employees to show tattoos. What about tattoos and body piercing? One study showed that 20% of adults have tattoos, 38% of millennials have tattoos, 23% of millennials have body piercing. Whether or not they're offensive, what other stereotypes do we have? The courts usually rule in favor of the employer. So what about litigation over body art? Litigation based on religion. There is discrimination on personal appearance. So let's take a look and then be aware of disparate impact. Disparate impact is unintentional. So there's other protected classes. Think of disparate impact as it relates to Hispanics, African Americans, and this is just talking about tattoos. Then think of the biology of dress and the differences in the sexes and gender, dealing with race, dealing with national origin, and of course, sex and gender. So the National Labor Relations Act says you cannot ban derogatory images or words regarding the company. Tips for your dress code then. And you document. So international dress codes. Women oftentimes enjoy a broader range of fashion at work. So think about stereotypes as you're putting together your policy, because you will have unconscious and conscious stereotypes. So there's such a thing as in-group or affinity bias. So I encourage you to take the IAT, Implicit Association Test. Think about your different departments, different situations. Would they be different dress codes? So your policy then needs to include some rules. What does it mean to be compliant? What does it mean to not be compliant? You'll get into legal hot water if you do not accommodate and if you have unequal standards for people. First of all, thanks everybody for joining us. I hope that you found this helpful. In the meantime, have a good rest of the day and a good upcoming weekend. Be well, be safe. And again, thank you for joining us. So good luck with that. And thank you again. And I'm going to end this. I hope you all have a good day. Bye-bye.